Hey, it's David with Bain Residential. Thanks for joining us today for this segment of our home buyer series. Bunch of videos we put together to help you through the process of home buying and answer any questions you have. And then, of course, we're always available if you have anything specific and want to know more information. But today's topic, we're going to look at the pre-approval letter, what it is, why it's important, how to get one, and what it does. It's one of the first things we should always be considering when you're starting off on the home buying process, right? It's one of the early conversations I have with my clients before we meet at a house or load up in my car and go look at a home and do tours. We always want to know that we have a pre-approval letter ready and available for a couple reasons. A, it lets us know what your capacity is, right? It'll tell us what your buying capacity is, and it'll set your budget. Whereas you may say, okay, well look, I'm good for a home for $350,000, but it's really not based on anything other than just kind of your senses and what you feel you can pay in terms of a payment and this and that. Whereas if we go to, or when we go to get our pre-approval letter, the lender's going to have some conversations with you around your earnings, your employment history, your credit score, any debt you have, that sort of thing. And they're going to plug that into their spreadsheets and work their magic, and then they're going to give you a number that they're willing to lend to you, right? So what you thought was $350 might actually be a little bit lower at $340. Or what we see a lot of times is, it's always a nice surprise, it's actually higher, maybe $360, $370, $375, allowing you more capacity and more buying power, which you can use in a couple of ways. You can get a house closer to where you want to be. It could be a house, a home with more square footage or that extra bedroom, whatever it is. You now know with a high level of confidence what you can afford. And if it's less than what you thought it was, that's really good to know, because we don't want you spending your time and your emotional bandwidth on properties that aren't going to work for you. So now we've got your budget in mind. What else does the pre-approval letter do? Well, it tells you and the seller with a high level of confidence that you're going to be able to complete a transaction based on your lending capacity, what a lender is willing to lend you, right? And so when you go to a home and it's time to make an offer, we're going to submit a very competitive offer. We're going to make sure we've got everything that they've asked for and have appropriate accommodations for price based on whatever. It's going to be a very fair, nice offer. And the way to round it out is to include with that the pre-approval letter. In an environment like Austin, where it's highly competitive with very low inventory, sellers will oftentimes not even consider an offer without a pre-approval. And so we will give that to the seller with your offer, so that when they say, you know what, I want to accept this offer, and we know they're pre-approved, we have a high level of confidence that they're going to be able to complete the transaction, that they will do that and they will take your offer. Without it, more often than not, a seller will simply move on to the next offer. They will say, you know what, I'm not going to take the risk of taking my home off the market for this person. We don't have any confidence in their ability to secure lending. So we're just going to wait a few more days till the next offer comes along. So now we know your budget. We know how much you're able to spend and what your buying capacity is. And the seller now knows that you have the ability to close on the transaction. Now keep in mind, the pre-approval is not a final approval. It is still waiting the final underwriting from the lender to get your full approval. So the final underwriting will be a more in-depth process, a closer look at your finances and that sort of thing, coupled with the home and some other factors before they give you the final approval. But the pre-approval is where we start. It's what gives you confidence in your buying power, and it's what gives the seller confidence in selling to you. So how do we get a pre-approval? Well, if you have a lender you've worked with before, or somebody that was recommended to you, we go talk to them. If you don't, I'm happy to refer some of my lender connections with you. I work with some great lenders here in town. And we go to them and we talk to them and we tell them what we're looking for. All right, we're interested in buying. We're first-time home buyers, and we've got this much money to put down towards the home. here's what our employment history looks like, our credit score, and here's how much cash reserves we have. And then they'll take all that information and they'll put it all together in a short amount of time, usually 24, 36, 48 hours. They're going to turn around a pre-approval letter for you, and you're ready to go home shopping, and we're ready to tour properties. So the first things first, always start off with a pre-approval letter, and that's the first step we're going to take on the journey to get you in the right home for you and get you on your way to home ownership. Check out our next video coming up. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them below or reach out directly. And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks.